This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, gang?
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, thank you for choosing us. Whether that's on 94.1 FM, if you happen to be listening via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you are watching our show on YouTube, we stream everything live on our YouTube channel. Just go to search at SA Sports Star on YouTube. You can go ahead, like, subscribe, comment along with the show if you so choose. Lots to get into today, including bringing you a portion of that Manu Ginobili interview from earlier today on the Blitz, which was awesome as he kind of broke down the Spurs, where they are, the losing, what they need to do. But first, since we're talking about the Spurs, early this morning on the Morning Huddle, AJ and Rob were discussing their Spurs and their future and how they should approach it.
You wonder the ramifications of the loss. What goes on in the locker room? What happens tomorrow in prep for the same team, doing the same things at home? There's the differences between what Pop would do and what these guys are doing. And I don't know what it is, what's different or how it's being done, but there's obviously a difference. And as we lose these games, something's going to have to change. Maybe it's the trade. Maybe a switch flips. Maybe something happens. But as I sit now, we're more talented and we're certainly far better than we were. But we have reached that first chasm of the big step. You know, you go from we want to, we're going to try real hard, and if we do everything, we'll be 500. Well, we know that's easily attainable. We should. This is a 500 basketball team. Even losing these kind of games, they're going to end up at, with 40, 41 wins. But are you taking that next step? And as you just said, are they planning on taking the next step? Is it really in the cards for them, or are they still looking at draft and looking at this team and going, we don't want to sacrifice tomorrow for a win today that really won't matter because the guy that made the shot and made the play ain't gonna be here.
Do you think that the coach? You think that Mitch talks to Popovich I
guarantee you that's still
how regularly?
I would say daily. And it might not be, it's just part of it's two things. Certainly, you want the console and the knowledge from, again, the greatest to ever do it. But also on the other side, I want to keep Pop active and busy and, motivated. That's part of his rehab too. So I'm pretty comfortable that there is a constant conversation.
Yeah. I just, I really think this team needs a real actual big man. And the idea that Collins and Mamu and
they're lost in space, man.
I mean, they're not on the team anymore.
No, they're lost in space. They have exited stage left. They're here only in a warm-up suit. They play no role.
And Charles Bassey is
he does his damnedest, but he's undersized. I mean,
yeah, he's not big enough to do the things I want him to. If I want Charles Bassey to be the 12th man on my team,
he's better than that. But he's not the guy to go in and face Jaren Jackson. He can't be.
He cannot be. He can't be the guy who you put in charge of stopping Jokic. That's what's ended up being the case.
He should be the guy that comes in after your starter has 2 fouls in his job.
Yes.
Is to eat 6 minutes, and if you pick up 3 fouls in the next 6 minutes, that's okay. You just eat them up. That should be his job. And he's forced to be in a position where he's got to go get some offensive rebounds. He's going to have to put some points on the board because we don't have anybody else that can.
And quite frankly, because that style of big man is not in vogue in the NBA today, that should make it more attainable, for the Spurs, because That it's so clear. And if the Spurs have to see that that's what they're missing right now.
I was having this conversation with a couple of guys last night, and it came up about seeking a big man. And then you have to think about it. Well, how do you get a deal done like that? Do you want to be the guy that trades Wemby, his personal protector? Do you want to be the general manager that trades Jalen Duren to the Spurs, that literally gives them the key to the kingdom, that you go, if I do this, I'm giving you the prescription to win 15 more games, and some of them will be against me. So there's the other side of this is everybody looks at the Spurs going, they're just a player away, and I don't want to be the dude to give it to them.
I think everybody, like, I hear that all the time in sports, and I get, like, maybe, you don't want to trade this player in division or whatever, but I think for the most part, GMs are like, CYA, cover your ass, and, like, just get your own team taken care of. I can't imagine the Charlotte Hornets are thinking about what they're giving.
I think that there is, it might not ever be spoken, but general managers know exactly the ramifications. The good ones know exactly what they're doing. And sometimes a move that isn't made that might not help them, but will certainly hurt another team, is a move they'll make, just knowing I'm going to screw that dude, because the last thing I need is for him to look successful and me to get left behind because I made the deal. Ask anybody who made a deal that didn't look good. The dude that made the deal at Brooklyn, who's been run out of, Bobby Marks, is now permanently on TV because he made one of the worst deals in history, and he gave the Celtics a title.
Yeah.
Gave it to him, and everybody knew it.
Yeah, Incubus says the Rockets are so fun to watch. Been a long time since I could say that.
Did you see them smoke Denver last night?
The Rockets went they almost went start to finish on it. Was tied 3-3. After that, the Rockets were never tied or trailing. The Rockets never trailed in this game.
I'll tell you what.
And they mollywopped the Nuggets.
Here's the fear, and this is something that you also have to consider, because there are guys that are getting paid to look beyond today's games. If Houston gets hot, the Spurs might as well just punt the season. If Houston figures it out, there ain't no way they're going to get past them in a playoff. I mean, and if you're chasing draft picks and all of that, the last thing they need is one more hot team in the West, because it's already going to be hard.
The Rockets, they are one of the good teams in the West already. And this is, I knew this was going to happen. Do you know if the playoffs started today, the Rockets are the 2 seed?
Yes. And I still, up until last night, felt like, you're a 2 seed in January. Let's see where you are in April.
Sure. But
last night showed me something.
Yeah, that's the Rockets are better than I thought
they were going to make a move. That guarantees me they're going to go get another solid 2 guard. They're going to go get somebody else to help that front line that's going to make right decisions along with Van Vliet.
Well, and also, again, what the Rockets do in the last 2 years, and they added one of the best coaches in the world, a defensive-minded coach who is clearly getting results that he wants out of his guys, and the Spurs have an interim guy and a head coach that we presume is never coming back.
Well, that's the other thing. If you don't hire Mitch, you lose him forever. I don't see him moving back over to seat number 1. And that guy is obviously the chosen one. He was the one by evidence that Pop and RC and all those that have made the long-term decisions, he was the chosen one.
Well,
and if you make a decision now because he was forced into that situation earlier, you lose him. He's not coming back. I can't imagine a guy just, I was interim. Now I'll just take first chair again for somebody coming in from off the street who will have his own first chair. I mean, so that does play a role in the decision making.
Can you live without him or no?
I don't know. I don't know what my expectations should be of this young coach thrust into this situation, who does have a team 1 game under 500 and in playoff contention, who is the second youngest in the league. So there's some things that he's doing well, but if we decide this is where we're going, we're going to have some bumps along the way, like last night. So are we ready to deal with that? That might, in my mind, slow the process that I feel like is in place. The playoffs are imminent. We should go for it. And we might not be in that situation if we're going to grow a coach along with kids on the court.
Ram says Rockets have scorers, no beef. They've got 3 players you can count on to close games, and that's what the Spurs need. Well, it's not. I mean, listen, every team needs a different amount of beef. The reason why I say the Spurs need beef is because Who's the Spurs power forward? They're the 4 and 5 for Spurs. They just don't really have one of either.
But you're right. And it was very evident last night against a team that was built from the front line and a stud in the court. But again, we don't run into a whole lot of teams that have a Zach Edey and a Jaren Jackson.
You say that, but we keep hearing I keep coming on and telling you what the big men do to the Spurs every week.
Well, you're right, and when we run into them, it is very evident. But on the same token, the league is more like the Lakers with Anthony Davis. They've got a good big, but he's just as likely to stand outside and take shots and beat you. That's not what Edey and Jaren Jackson do. They're in the paint and they're going to own it, and that's why they've been that good. But the Spurs have a tendency to make teams that are average front line look a whole lot better than they would elsewise. We just don't have those horses.
The difference is Anthony Davis, if they're going to Anthony Davis decides what he wants to do. And Anthony Davis, if he can dominate a game inside, he will do that.
Yeah. But
less than he used to, certainly, but he's still capable of it. Wemby, even when he knows the best path to success is inside, he's not interested in it.
Well, and again, I wouldn't be either if I saw after the way he was mauled last night. I'm not going down in there, and I'm not sure I want him in that.
I think I'm done arguing that Wemby should be a big man. He's clearly not. But you've got to have some semblance of big man play on your team, and just counting on Jeremy Sohan and Steph Castle to do all the big man work. That's not a real option long term. It's not.
And Jeremy is a glue guy. He ain't a muscle guy. No, you're right. And even the fix ain't really the fix. You're absolutely right. But I do think they look at the league and they look at their team and go, yeah, we're going to run into Zach Edey's and we're going to run into a Walker Kessler every now and again, and certainly Cleveland. But for the most part, we're going to run against guys that are lesser versions of our Wemby, a stretch 5 that would just as soon stand out and take threes and charge for an offensive rebound every now and again and lean into somebody who's trying to get in the paint, but really ain't the dude to do it. That's 25 of the 30 teams.
Now, Pledger said Rockets are a young team that grew together. Are Spurs trying to copy that formula or be like OKC, Orlando, or be a collection of stars? Those teams are struggling. You're right, and I'm not asking for a star. That's why I said go trade for Nick Richards. Nick Richards isn't a star. He's kind of a scrub, but he'll at least do things that a 7-foot man is supposed to do on an NBA floor.
And by their inaction, I think Pledge is asking the right question. And the answer to this, by where we're sitting now, is they just as soon be like OKC. And there's not a problem with that if that's your timeline. I mean, if your plan was we're going to get a little bit better, we're going to be playoff caliber. We know we're 2 or 3 players away, but if those guys grow into it and we lose in a play-in game or maybe even make the first round and lose in 4 or 5 games, hey, that's the steps we wanted. We're right where we want to be.
Remember, OKC had the first pick, or they had the second pick in the draft the year that the Spurs had the first pick. OKC is now sitting at number 1 in the Western Conference standings. They are clearly the best team in the Western Conference. So what is going on with the timeline that the Thunder can be picking 2 and they're now the best team in the world, and the Spurs who picked 1 are maybe going to make the play-in?
They're also a little bit behind them, but there's also
that's a long way behind them.
Well, I'm a little bit behind them in their time frame, is what I'm saying. Oklahoma City began this rebuild before the Spurs did, and they had a couple of years to go get a Shea and a Chet and all that kind of stuff, where the Spurs whiffed on a couple of picks. But there's also the point of no matter how good we get, we ain't beating Oklahoma City. Right. No matter how good we could make a big deal and bring in a stud, and he's only here for a short amount of time, a merc, and we get better, we win a couple of games. But what's the point?
Well, and that's the thing about, I mean, the Spurs or the Thunder, the way that they're built, they hit on every draft pick, and it, if you're going to build your team organically, you have to be a good drafting team. That's the whole reason why the process for the Sixers ended up, I mean, kind of not working, because you can't miss on Jahlil Okafor and Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, which I know Markelle Fultz can play, but he couldn't in Philly. You missed on all these guys, and then it's like, well, you had one good guy, and then what'd you put around him? You didn't.
Well, the Primo pick will go down as one of the worst years ever.
I mean, that's just painful.
It is, and we'll never get over it. We'll just it's like your crazy uncle up at stairs. We just don't talk about it. It's a mistake. It handcuffed us. But the retort to that is, if we had drafted appropriately and gotten a player that actually stuck, we wouldn't have Wemby. So it all led to us being so bad that we had enough ping pong balls to truly start over. So I won't question the past. But when we see a team like Houston, who also let a year or two get away from them, they should be further down the road, but they had a bad coach who let a bunch of kids run wild for a year. And it took an Ime Udoka to bring these wild coats back to break them and turn them into a team. So they lost some years. And they didn't draft entirely appropriately. The Spurs, again, I think when we look back on the past, there was the plan before Pop had the stroke, and then there's the plan afterwards. And there was an effect. There was a change. I don't know what it was or how it's going to be manifest, but there obviously is a different plan today than there was when we had our original head coach walking the sidelines. And I don't know if it's delay until we find somebody, or is it press the gas? We've got all these draft picks. Let's get the picks and the coach in place now, because there's no time like the present. I don't know what that is, and we won't really have a good idea until 3:59 of the trade deadline day, the 4 o'clock on the East. We won't know where the Spurs are sitting until that minute.
And the other thing is, like you brought up the Primo pick, which that's going to set you back. I don't care who you are, but also the year after that, and like you said, Sohan has a place on this team. I get it, but Sohan is also that's
a luxury.
Sohan's supposed to be the last piece you add to a team that's ready to go.
He's the 6th guy that comes in that may start, may not, but does it, plays the role.
You needed at that point to find, and now remember, that's pre-Wemby. You needed to find a guy who could be like a real dude for you. And
they got him in Cassie.
Yeah, but now are those two guys enough? Organically,
that is the $1 billion question that will begin to be answered.
I can answer it now.
They'll tip their hand at the end of this trade deadline. Are they where they are with these guys, or are these guys imminent to leave? We'll get our first hint here in a couple of weeks.
We will. That trade deadline is fast approaching. And as far as the Jeremy Sohan pick, I mean, it is what it is. You could have had Jalen Williams, Jalen Duren, Tari Eason, Christian Braun. Those are some, but they're all the same person. They're all bet players for the most part, except, Jalen Williams. But most of them are filling a role similar to that of Jeremy Sohan. So I think our expectations of what Sohan needs to be are a bit high, but it also comes down to guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. Did you hold on to them too long? Did they lose their value all of a sudden? And is Steph Castle, do you believe he's that guy to pair with Wemby to run it through into the future along with Devin Vassell? And if so, make minor moves. But if not, you got to find the guy that you're going to pair with them. And if it is De'Aaron Fox, you got to be prepared to give up somebody like a Steph Castle, because to get Paul George, the Clippers had to give up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got to give up somebody with high upside in order to get a proven star, along with a lot of picks. And that's just how it works. And they have scratched 3 of the 4 boxes, and in some case, probably 4 with Keldon, all 4. You know what they are for the most part. Their growth is done. They're on their 2nd contract. How much growth is left in them? And that's why it's a lot easier to trade somebody while the arrow's pointing up and there's an unknown quality to them than it is to move them after you already kind of know. And a lot of Spurs fans wanted to hold on to Devin Vassell for a long time. And at this point, his value may not match what you're willing to get in a trade if he's not truly the guy. But Steph Castle may be. So maybe you only need a move, like AJ said, like Rob said, to get a big man to protect the paint, just like the Spurs had when Tim Duncan was on this team. They had their guys to protect him and allow him to slide to the 4. Maybe that's what Wemby needs too. What say you? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. What does Manu Ginobili say? Manu Ginobili, former Spurs great, number 20 in the rafters. He joined the Blitz today and broke down his thoughts on what the Spurs are doing, Victor Wembanyama, and more. We'll play a portion of that interview when we come back right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
Ricky, would you like to rap at the Testicle Festival? Can you give me a little rap?
You want me to spit a rap?
Yeah, I want you to spit a rap.
About balls? Yo, Testicle Festival. It's like an extraterrestrial. Widen my eyes when I see them calf fries.
The John Clay Wolf Show.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know, our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
Colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer in men under 50 and the second leading cause of cancer death for women under 50. The American College of Radiology urges you to get screened starting at age 45. Now, Medicare and insurance companies are required to cover not only colonoscopy, but less invasive exams like virtual colonoscopy. Talk to your doctor about your options. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org/virtual CT.
Furnished by American College of Radiology.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
We're getting crushed out here. What's going on with you, Nick? You used to be the unstoppable king of flag football.
I'm feeling my age. At 40, I feel like I can't keep up anymore.
Is it lower testosterone?
Lower T?
Yeah. When you turn 40, you have less testosterone. It's harder to stay lean and get the same results you used to get. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I know Nugenix. It really gives you an edge.
No question. At work, the gym, the bedroom, Nugenix turned back the clocks. Now I've got the same energy that I did in my 20s.
I want to try Nugenix.
All right, time out. Guys, go text Nugenix and get yourselves a complimentary bottle to try.
Text SPIRAL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPIRAL to 42424. That's SPIRAL to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink. $400 off with trade-in and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Don't wait. Offer ends soon. Call Connecticut of San Antonio and the Hill Country.
The last water softener you'll ever own. ConnecticutSA.com.
George gets justice.
No amount of money can make up for a life-changing injury. I'm George Salinas, and at George Salinas Injury Lawyers, our team of attorneys will fight to get you the maximum compensation because we prepare and we care. So if you've been injured in an accident, get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze.
crease. La 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 la.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation.
Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Your home for the Dallas Cowboys is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm James Pleasure. You can follow me on X, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff at I Am Pleasure. Follow the station at SA Sports Star. A lot of questions coming in here. Fred Casares Jr. says Steph Castor should be starting already next to CP3 with Devin Vassell coming off the bench. I've been advocating for that. So, I mean, hopefully at some point, that's a lineup that we start seeing more consistency out of. Said maybe we should trade Vassell and Keldon, get some future picks. Maybe. Or maybe some legitimate help alongside Victor Wembanyama. I mean, watching Luke Kennard go off last night when he was available last year, and you could have had him to help put a floor spacer on this team. That was a tough watch. It was. Freedom Ride 1991 says, Pledge, did I get to play pickleball with Ginobili? No, I've been stuck in the studio all day. Did not get to play pickleball with Ginobili, but I'm pretty sure he would have smoked me. That's right. If you missed it earlier today, the great one, Manu Ginobili, he was out at King of Paddle with Jason and Joe playing pickleball out there all day, then managed to hop on to talk with the guys for a little bit. Here's part of that interview where they're talking about the Spurs and what the future looks like.
Do you still stop by and see the kids? As far as I say kids, Spurs.
I call them kids
right,
too.
Exactly.
I call them kids too.
They are. Outside of Chris Paul, they are. Still stop by and see them? Do you go by and watch and talk to those guys at all?
Yes. I was there this morning when they were practicing. I'm part of the organization in some way, and I always be. So whenever I have a chance, I stop by, I talk to them. The coaches and strength coaches and trainers and media guys.
Absolutely.
I know them for 25 years now, so they're family.
Manu, when you look at the Spurs, and you're so close to it, but this team, they should have 5-6 more wins than they do. Being one game under 500 right now with second halves like last night. For you and your level of play, especially the Spurs teams you are a part of winning championships, I know it's got to be a little frustrating, but what kind of advice can you give to those players about learning how to close out in second halves?
I mean, you can give all the advice you want. It's just a process, and you got to mature. You got to be there. You're going to make those mistakes. And whenever we make the playoffs again, we're going to make silly mistakes and we're going to be frustrated, but it is what it is. There's nothing that can accelerate time, and it's painful to watch, early in the third quarter yesterday. But it takes time. We did it too, many times early on. And then we started to mature and understand, and those type of experience help you next time you're in the same situation to remember and not to want to make the same mistakes. So it sucks, but it's part of the process, and we're still a young team. And the fact that we have players like CP and Harrison will, help us make less mistakes, the fourth quarter against the Lakers, in which, they've been there, they've done that, and we rely on them. So it's part of the process, as I said, and being at 500 now, I think it's a good record. Sometimes you always feel like you could have won 4 or 5 more games, but I think we're in a good spot, and we are showing great development. We are thrilled with Steph, what Steph Castle is doing on the court. Of course, Victor and Devin being healthy again. So I think we're in a great situation.
I remember when you showed up and the way you played ball, people used to say, man, we've never seen anything like it, the way Manu Ginobili plays. Did you ever think we'd see anything like what Victor Wembanyama is and the things that he can do at his size?
The NBA is amazing. Whenever you think you've seen it all, there's something else. I remember when Blake Griffin came to the league, that he was doing things that we'd never seen. When LeBron came, when Durant came, and then you see somebody like Victor, or you see Ja Morant doing what he's doing. There's so much talent, and so many kids want to play in the NBA, and they work their butts off to make it. And we are able to see things like that. So watching Victor play and grow and develop is such a privilege, and it's so much fun. So we are thrilled to have him.
Kind of like what we used to say about you. Every night, Manu Ginobili was going to do something on the court that gives us that wow moment.
He's doing many things. He's doing many things. I used to do one or two, but he is doing a lot of things.
Well, and just with your basketball eyes, how much better is he now than when he first got here, or even at the beginning of this year? Because I can see it, Joe can see it. You see things differently on a basketball court. I mean, and then the growth that you think he can still develop into.
He was 19. Mm-hmm. He's a 19-year-old kid last year, and he was already amazing, scoring 21 and 11 in the NBA. Are you kidding me? So we're gonna see growth, even if he doesn't even go to the gym, because you grow up and you mature and you get bigger and you start understanding, and you see patterns, mistakes that you made, or things that went well, and he's gonna grow regardless of what we do. So it's a thrill, and again, a privilege to have him and to see him develop, and it's so exciting. I mean, every year we're going to start seeing more and more. So he's a 20-year-old kid, 21.
21 now, right? Yeah.
So it's awesome. He's remarkable.
He is incredible. Tony's going to follow him to Paris. You ever going to get him to Argentina?
It's gonna be very hard. He's a big star, and it's a great opportunity for him, for the organization to go to Paris and play a couple games there and see what he's becoming, and at the same time keep growing our sport. Still room to keep growing, and with his presence and his stardom, France is going to be a huge asset for the NBA, and all the other French kids that are in the NBA and the ones that are coming soon. Amazing talent over there.
That was Manu Ginobili earlier today on the Blitz. You can catch that full interview in our audio vault at sasportstar.com. It is powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, and also I will have the video up because he did join them live on camera. So we'll have that up for you shortly as well, sometime before the night is done. But man, I'm telling you, you hear him talking about, you can't teach experience, you can't teach, growth. You could teach it, but you can't rush it. And we saw that with Oklahoma City, and we've seen that with Houston, and to an extent, we've kind of seen that with teams in the East as well, with Orlando, with what they're doing over there, currently in the 4th seed, going with Paolo Banchero, who missed a good portion of the season. And of course, as well, I know they made the big splash to go get Donovan Mitchell, but Cleveland is pretty homegrown with Garland and Mobley and Jared Allen. Like they've done things to grow that team and let it come together. And right now they have the best record in basketball. They are followed by Oklahoma City, who has the second best record in basketball. And they are followed by Boston and Houston. A lot of teams that have grown with their own stars that they have groomed. Could the Spurs be looking to do the same thing with Castle and Wemby? Because they've added the vets. They've added CP3. They've added Harrison Barnes. I think they just need pieces that fit this roster and its culture. Another big, like Rob and Rudy, or like Rob and AJ were talking about this morning, would be great for protection for Victor Wembanyama in the paint, both defensively and offensively, because he plays outside more than he plays inside when he's on offense. So having that presence down low would help this team. I also think they need shooters. They need snipers. They need guys like Luke Kennard, who we saw last night, just light them up in the second half. I think those are a couple of pieces that they still need that can help take this team to the next level. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. Of course, what do you got to say about it? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to get in on the conversation. Plus, we're talking, of course, Cowboys coaching. The search is heating up. They're bringing in names. Some you'll like, some you won't, and another, well, his name just won't go away. We'll discuss next right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Friday on the Morning Huddle. Let's do it again. We're going to play the Grizzlies. They're 0-1 in the last one. Let's see if they can take Ja down.
And it's a football Friday. We got 4 big NFL playoff games to discuss. We'll dig into them deep. It's the Morning Huddle. Be here at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
AJ Hoffman here from the Morning Huddle for my friends out at SA Card House, San Antonio's premier card house, located at 281 and Bitters. They have tournaments going every single day, guys. Follow them on Instagram. It's at SA_Card House. You'll get all the details on what tournaments are running that day. And if you're not a tournament guy, hey, no problem. They've got cash games running 24/7. It's a great environment, great atmosphere, great dealers, great people. I can't forget the great food. Foster's Bar and Grill, attached to SA Card House, has some of the finest food in the city, and you don't have to be a member to dine there. If you're looking for a place to play cards, look no further. It's 281 in Bitters. SA Card House is the place you want to play. Always cash to be made. Get on out to SA Card House. I will see you on the tables.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows. And save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
Hi, I'm Manny Jr. from Rock's Discount Vitamins. If you're looking to build muscle, strength, and boost athletic performance, check out our huge selection of anabolic pro-hormones. These powerful supplements provide your body with essential nutrients for muscle growth, faster recovery, fat loss, and even improved bone health and libido. Visit one of our 12 San Antonio locations or go online at rocksdiscountvitamins.com to learn more. That's rocksdiscountvitamins.com. We thank God and you for your continued support. rocksdiscountvitamins.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 and Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer in men under 50 and the second leading cause of cancer death for women under 50. The American College of Radiology urges you to get screened starting at age 45. Now, Medicare and insurance companies are required to cover not only colonoscopy, but less invasive exams like virtual colonoscopy. Talk to your doctor about your options. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org/virtual CT.
Furnished by American College of Radiology.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hardworking tools at hardworking prices. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, you, just keep on dancing.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Great game on tonight on TNT. Cavs, Thunder, top 2 teams in the NBA, separated by a game. Just their first battle was epic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing an MVP level. You've got just great talent on the floor on both sides, and saw a wicked stat. It's not like they've lost a lot of games anyway, but the Thunder with the free agent they brought in, Isaiah Hartenstein, the big man that comes and does all the dirty work for them, they're 22-2 with him in the lineup. He is out tonight with a calf injury, but the importance of having a functional big man in some way, shape, or form, maybe the Spurs need that. Cowboys, well, they need a head coach right now. They are without, and they need to find a way to nail this, because I think it's important you find the right guy that fits the culture in Dallas, and the culture in Dallas is set by the owner. So you need someone that's not going, because it's always going to be Jerry's way as long as Jerry's there. So you got to find a way to make sure that they know how to work around the culture that Jerry set and not kind of create friction, tension, or anything like that, and still have the respect of the locker room while dealing with all the ancillary things going around. And they put some names in the hopper. Saleh, Leslie Frazier. Unfortunately, those feel like boxes just being checked. And I hate saying that, but when it comes to the Rooney Rule sometimes, it's like, Vrabel. You brought Saleh, I can get. He is a former head coach. Things didn't go well. Maybe you're looking at a DC if things don't go right for the head coach that you bring in, especially if they're an inexperienced one like Kellen Moore, to where you have someone with head coaching experience on your staff with him. That would make sense, but it's going to be very intriguing to find out where the Cowboys go and if they're following that Deion hype train all the way through, or if they're going to find somebody that fits the culture in Dallas and knows how to work alongside it. Plus, just knowing that Dak Prescott, you're tied to him for so long, someone that can get the best out of them. Earlier today, the Blitz was talking about this coaching search that's heating up for the Cowboys.
Cowboys getting a lot of work done as they continue to search for their new head coach to replace Mike McCarthy. No surprise, as predictable as can be, they did put in a request to interview little Kellen Moore. Now, I wonder, I guess the interview is scheduled for Friday, tomorrow.
Yes.
So I guess the Eagles let them.
Well, it's going to be a Zoom call. There's no way he's going to travel there.
But could you imagine if the Eagles would have denied Jerry's request? Now, I don't know if they legally can because it's from coordinator to head coach. So I don't know if they technically can, as opposed to like when McCarthy was denied the opportunity to interview for the Bears head coaching job. But wouldn't it have been funny if Philly would have said no?
That would have been hilarious. I would have loved it. It would have been great.
Yes.
If they would have done that, it would have served Jerry right. But look, Kellen Moore is chomping at the bit to have an opportunity to come back as a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And I tell you, I just think that'd be a big mistake. Big mistake.
Well, I mean, from a yes man, another puppet, Jason Garrett 2.0, submissive, whatever Jerry is looking for, Kellen Moore makes sense. But you think about the offenses he has had since he's been a coordinator, they've all been pretty damn good. But a head coach, I don't know. And of course, if you got little Kellen Moore, then your associate head coach is Jason Witten. And it just seems like all the dominoes would fall. Does Kellen Moore excite me? No. Do I think he could do a good job with the offense? Yes. But it just feels like he would just be another yes man for Jerry Jones. And I think right now, because we've all been teased with the little Deion Sanders, everybody is going to be a letdown as far as, are you excited about the head coaching hire if it's not Deion Sanders?
Well, we'll talk about Deion in just a second, but sticking with Kellen Moore, and I mean this, and this is probably the unfairest thing I'll say about Kellen Moore. Again, as a football, if you're Micah Parsons, for example, or any other Cowboy player, and Kellen Moore's trying to tell you something or chew you out, are you going to take that seriously? No, is the answer you're looking for. It looks like a 10-year-old. Hey, Dad, don't do that again. And you're going to go, yeah, son. Yeah, okay.
To your point, what do you want, Ryan Eagle? I mean, you say something like that, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Yesterday, it was quit going with these old retreads. What about these young guys that are up and comers? Well, young guys up. I mean, if they're all young, they all look like they're 10 in your mind, right? So you can't have your cake and eat it too in this case. If it wasn't Kellen Moore and his history with the Cowboys, would you feel the same way about Kellen Moore, and would Micah Parsons respect him?
I may not feel the same way, but that's exactly a part of the point that I'm making. The fact is, it didn't work in Dallas the first time around. What in the world? And unless he's not going to call plays, which I can't imagine that he wouldn't. So, it didn't work the first time. I'd much rather go out. Look, I'd rather have a Robert Saleh, if you want to do that. Leslie Frazier, of all names, that nobody's talked about, who's the DC with Seattle right now. He has head coaching experience. He's going to be interviewed as well. But I don't know. Kellen Moore just, to me, he's last on the list as far as I'm concerned. I don't even think he's done a great job with that Philly offense. With all the weapons they have, I'm not impressed with Philly's offense.
Okay, not impressed with Philly's offense. An offense that legitimately has a 2,000-yard rusher. One of the best offenses in football, top rushing attack. I don't know what you want. Kellen Moore has been an offensive coordinator for 6 years now. He's had 4 top 10 offenses. He had 2 number 1 offenses, including with the Cowboys. And remember, Mike planted the narrative that Kellen doesn't run the ball when actually they were in the top 10 and the top 5, in fact, in rushing attempts when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't let the fact that Mike McCarthy fooled everyone by trying to say that he wanted to run the football when he didn't. He just wanted to call plays, and that was the way for him to get Kellen Moore out the door. So, no. A lot of you are asking who I think the Cowboys coach should be. J4 says he's starting to think about Cliff Kingsbury. Well, Cliff Kingsbury isn't thinking about coaching at all right now. According to Pro Football Talk, Cliff Kingsbury is actually waiting on all potential head coaching interviews until their playoff run is finished, which is very interesting, as a matter of fact, because most people are trying to get back into it. For me, it could be one of two. It could be Deion Sanders. I think he is a great leader of men. I think he is a great head coach, and I think he can succeed at any level and has proven that he can succeed at any level. I think it takes a certain type of personality to deal with Jerry. And let's face it, Prime is a very similar type of personality to Jerry Jones. So I think that would work. It would depend on his staff. The other person that I think can succeed is Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore has succeeded in Dallas. He knows the lay of the land. He knows a lot of the people in that locker room and commands the respect of those people because he came up through it. I think as a quarterback in the league, you have to know how to deal with multiple sects of the locker room because as a quarterback, you are a leader of the team, regardless of who you are. So knowing how to talk to people on both sides of the locker room, offensively and defensively, being able to communicate with them. And I think he would be good for Dak Prescott because, like it or not, and I know Freedom Ride was talking about, hyping up Dak and finding out what's best for Dak. Yeah, you got to find out what's best for Dak because, like it or not, you're tied to him until at least 2028. So you have to find a way to get the best out of him. And Dak had really good seasons under Kellen Moore. So I think those two would be really, really good. And if you bring in a Kellen Moore, like I said, Robert Saleh, or even this, Matt Eberflus, guys who have head coaching experience that can come in on the other side of the ball and kind of help a new to the job head coach. Plus, there's just an air of freshness, I think, with Kellen Moore. And I really think letting him leave the Cowboys to go and get other experience with other coaching staffs and other coaches was good for him. I think you need multiple experiences on multiple staffs to get the best out of a coach. D'Amico Ryans talked about it multiple times about how he took from Andy Reid when he was with him and how he's taken from Kyle Shanahan and how he learned from Robert Saleh. Like he's got different experiences, different coaches, different trees that he's been around that he has taken from and learned from it and applied to his being a head coach. And I think that's true for every head coach. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. When we come back, a legend has passed, and we all may have to just watch a movie in remembrance tonight. We'll talk about when we come back right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson for Prize Picks, the best place to get real money on your sports action. Me and 10 million other people are playing every day, and now's the time to do it. Have you ever heard of this? You've got a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. You can run your season all game long, and now 1,000 times your cash. Heck, I've been a Prize Picks player for a long time. I've not seen this. 1,000 times your cash. It's playoff time. It's now or never. Don't miss out on the fun in the last few weeks of the football season. Prize Picks is the best place to play, up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get the action on the sports that you're playing, and now you can get up to 1,000 times your cash. Join over 10 million members. Play today. And if you sign up today, you get up to $50 instantly when you play. Use the code ALAMO. Sign up today for 1,000 times your cash. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Make it your New Year's resolution to drink better beer. That's what I'm talking about. Who needs dry January? Let's go all in with Karbach, baby. Karbach Brewing out of Houston, but they love San Antonio, and their beer is all over the city. Their head brewer came here and said, we want San Antonio to be a priority market for us, so they have put their beer all over our fair town. From Hopadillo, their in-your-face hopped IPA, to Love Street, which is their blonde Kolsch-style beer, and it's their best seller, by the way. On top of that, the Crawford Bock, which is one of my personal favorites. There's something for everyone in Carbach's lineup. So go to the grocery stores, go to the liquor stores, they're going to have it. And you might be surprised, all the bars and restaurants that you might think not have it probably do have some Carbach behind the bar. So whenever you're out watching football, watching playoff football, ask the bartender, please make it a Carbach.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me this evening. J4 on our YouTube feed was asking about low-hanging fruit of Kellen Moore. I mean, I get it, but there's something to just knowing how to navigate being a Dallas Cowboy and a coach on that staff and everything that comes with it, from Stephen and Jerry's interviews multiple times a week to talking after the game to just dealing with them in front office situations. There's a lot that goes into with the external noise that a lot of coaches aren't used to dealing with. As a matter of fact, they're used to walling themselves off from all of that external pressure. So I think knowing what it's like and having a plan to navigate that's going to be very important and something a lot of coaches aren't prepared for. Cliff Kingsbury, though, could be a very good option, if not Kellen Moore.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. He called Brewers games for 54 years, but he became famous